and I think you'll stay. But I've already ordered the stickers. I have these beautiful fun from WB&E stickers that I already have for people who did this in December. And then for people who do this in February, we're ordering Camp Bacon and Egg stickers that are really, really cool. And I'm really excited about it. So go to patreon.com/bacon and eggs if you feel like this show brings you value. And go ahead and try it out. Pledge $3 to join our Discord, or $5 to get the hash browns, which is our bonus show. That's going to be the most popular tier. Or if you've got a little bit more to give, we have options up to like what, $250 a month? I think that's what it is. Something like that. But I mean, I don't expect you to do that. I expect you to, if you can, do $5 a month, because I hope that you like this show, and I hope that you find it valuable, and I hope that you think we could use the $5 more than Netflix could, even though you could do both. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for donating. I'm looking forward to running out of stickers, and I'm really, really excited. So thank you so much, and let's get on with the episode. Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And today we're starting a new job.
Or maybe we're just cockroaches.
So lock the basement door.
And hide under the table.
Because today we're bringing you...
Parasite.
Directed by Bong Joon-ho, released May 21st, 2019, 266 days ago on an $11 million budget. What is this number I'm seeing right here, Ethan?
That's the Korean money. It's 13.5 billion
won. Okay, I thought that was saying it won $13.5 billion.
I realized that as soon as you started having an issue with it, but to me, who read it, I was like, oh, it's 13.5 billion won. Duh.
Well, okay, but it reads like one.
No,
anyway.
no, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
It was a problem I did not foresee until the second that you started having the problem.
Right. It's a smart investment. It has made $175.9 million worldwide so far, but it is being re-released in black and white, which I think will be good, really good for this movie. I would
go to see that.
It's got great color, really, really great color, but I think in black and white, it'll also be excellent. I got a 99% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 92% audience rating, which is lower than I thought and higher than I thought, respectively, and a 96 on Metacritic.
You thought that 99 was low?
Yeah, I think I would be. I cannot imagine a critic going to see this movie. Like even I, in my mild critical self.
But it's Rotten Tomatoes,
right? I know there's somebody that there's like people whose job it is to be like the first negative review. There are only 5 rotten reviews on all of Rotten Tomatoes,
and none of them are from like sources. You know, they're like they're the kind of publications that like I would not normally read. Armand White did not like it, and Armand White's name I've seen before, and he doesn't like a lot of stuff that we like.
No, Armand White is his job. He's one of these people. He gave a negative review to 1917, to Uncut Gems, to Little Women,
to Birds of Prey, to Just Mercy, to 1917, to Uncut Gems, to Little Women, to Hidden Life, to Bombshell, to Richard Jewell.
So that's
he liked Richard Jewell.
He didn't like Marriage Story.
He did not like Marriage Story.
Harriet.
He did like Ford versus Ferrari.
Heck yeah, he did.
He did not like Motherless Brooklyn. He did not like Harriet. He did not like The Irishman.
Yeah, that's this dude's job.
He did not like Jojo Rabbit. He did not like Parasite. He did not like Joker.
But we're here to talk about Parasite, which won swept with 4 Academy Awards for
best
director,
or best original screenplay, best director, best international film, and best
picture.
Film. Best movie.
Yeah, just best film in general.
Unanimous vote at Cannes, Cannes Film Festival, the Palme d'Or. First unanimous vote since 2013's Blue is the Warmest Color, that movie about lesbians.
I also saw, in the realm of Asian film, I saw The Farewell this year, which was also similarly challenging to watch. Okay, so let's get into binary on Parasite, Ethan.
Yeah, this is a 1.
This is a 1. Yeah, you have to watch it. Best Picture winner, foreign film. I feel like even if you watch it and you hate it, it's important for you to pay money to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely important that you give this money, this movie, your $4. Yes. If they re-release it in theaters around here in black and white, I will go see it.
I cannot imagine sitting through 2 hours and 11 minutes of this. That's just 205, 208. I don't know. There's like
something
3.5
like
minutes of credits. In one sitting, I broke it up into 5 segments.
That's insane. I don't know how you watch movies like that.
I don't like to watch movies like that. Almost always, I would prefer to sit and watch them all in one sitting. But this movie being the one exception in that, like, I started watching it last night and I was like, all right, I need to make it at least an hour into it before I go to bed, and I did. And like an hour in is moments before it turns.
Yes.
Like I came back and turned it back on, and the doorbell rang with the old housekeeper.
Yeah, it's a slow burn for sure on this one.
And it's one of those ones where like it's very smart with the score. Like it's silent for most of the film,
and then it's, you know, when there's score, there is score.
It's big. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I watched it in one sitting. I can't imagine getting up, honestly. I don't even think I went to the bathroom. I was compelled start to finish.
Every time I turned it on, I would watch it. Because like the way my day is set up at work, I have like not enough time to finish a movie during any of my breaks, but I have enough time over all of them to finish a movie. And like every time I would turn it on and watch it for 15 minutes, I would go back to my desk and my heart was racing.
Yeah, for sure. This is like, literally, I texted you last night and I was like, this is what if you told Jordan Peele he was not allowed to make a horror movie that still had to be compelling, this is what you would get.
This is all suspense, no horror.
Right. Like when we talk about Jordan,
it pays off at the end.
We talk about Jordan Peele being like, oh, it's the modern day Hitchcock. Like this is a movie that Alfred Hitchcock would be like, yeah, that was a good one, guys.
You guys should give him the Oscar.
Yeah, you really did. Really nailed that one.
It's so good. I really enjoyed every minute of it. The acting was so incredibly good. I didn't mind the subtitles at all. I don't watch a lot of movies in foreign languages, but I think there is a learning curve, but it's quick.
I've seen a fair few for sure.
I've seen, truthfully, maybe 3 in theaters, and outside of theaters, again, maybe 3. So like I would say I've seen less subtitled movies than your average person that, as far as Americans go, I've seen less subtitled movies than your average person that watches Japanese movies, but more than your average person that watches movies. That makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like, I think I've probably seen more subtitled movies than Joe goes to the theater, but I've seen less than, like, you know, my friends that watch proper anime.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely seen less than my friends who watch proper anime. On that topic, I feel like it has to come up in this conversation. Why can I not get into anime?
I don't know. I have no idea. I can't speak for you.
I don't try often, and every time I do try, I revisit something. It's like when I try to get back into reading. I revisit something that I know I like, and I'll read 7 Harry Potter books over the course of like 3 weeks. And I'm like, man, that was a lot of reading. I'm going to take a break from that hobby for a while. And
yeah.
And then the same thing happens with the anime where I'll be like, all right, well, I'm just going to start with something light that I know. I'm going to watch a season of Dragon Ball Z, and I'll do that. And I'll be like, well, it was pretty good, but I am out of time for watching anime.
Yeah. Like, as far as the TV shows go, at least the ones that we got in the States, like a lot of those story arcs are just exhausting. Like we make the like find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z jokes because it's so true that like there'll be entire episodes of Dragon Ball Z that just nothing happens.
Right. We're just waiting for
Goku. It's like Goku charging a thing.
A spirit bomb. Yeah.
A spirit bomb. Yeah. For an entire 30-minute episode. And also like I'm notoriously more cold on animation than your average person. And I think that the traditional Japanese anime is like among my least favorite of the animation styles. It just doesn't. It doesn't do it for me. Now, obviously, there are exceptions to that. Like I can look at a Studio Ghibli movie, at a Miyazaki movie, and be like, okay, this is really well done, guys. Like I get it. I'm aware. Like this is pretty.
And I've noticed, and I still don't regularly watch anime. Because I'll try with a season of Dragon Ball Z, and then it's the same thing, the same vicious cycle. But I've seen like promos and things, and a lot of YouTubers and podcasters that like will promote Crunchyroll. And I've seen some of the more modern stuff where like the technology has sort of caught up with the medium, where like they can put out an episode every week that actually has some decent animation in it.
Right.
Not that there's never been any in the history of anime. I'm sure there are some really cool scenes, but there's also lots of scenes of Dragon Ball Z which are just like a looping animation of Goku and Vegeta punching and missing each other.
Right.
Like so.
And badly synced dialogue in any language. Right.
I also don't like, you know what they do in anime, and this is like such a weird pet peeve, is this noise right here. They do that noise all the time, like in response to things. It drives me crazy.
I might just have to bleep that out. That was like risque. Anyway, so let's talk about because this is obviously a subtitled movie. I mean, this is one of the ones where we've decided, like, we're not going to make a dub of this.
Well, yeah, no, a dub would be terrible.
Well, I mean, we've never had to watch dubs for the most part.
There was, I mean, when we were like way young, that was still sort of a trend.
Well, again, but that was like, you know, we had some 4Kids imported anime cartoons, like the number 4, like 4Kids Entertainment imported Japanese anime cartoons. They just completely changed. They rewrote it, like.
Right, and they would their mouths wouldn't do anything other than like open slightly.
Right. But I mean, like, you know, we as Americans, the country where the most movies come from, where we predominantly speak English here, like, we have grown up fortunate to not ever have to, like, watch a dub. And, like, I've watched, like, we did this, because I took a class in college where I had to watch, films in Spanish. Mm-hmm. And we watched, just as an introduction, we watched, like, 30 minutes of, like, the Spanish dub of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Was it good?
I mean, no, it was a dub. Like, it was weird. But it was
Harry
just, like...
sounds like a grown man.
It was like... you know, there was no, because especially with and I can't speak, you know, there's no other languages that I speak to comment on the dubs, but a lot of like the way that dubs are done for Spanish movies, it's very like, there's not a whole lot of dynamic acting to it, like dynamic voice acting. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of Hagrid being like, "Oh, Harry, tú eres un wizard." And it's just like everybody's constantly screaming at each other.
Soy un qué?
Yeah, and then it would just be like, "Soy un qué?" Because Harry's like a grown person.
Right.
No, it's not that Harry's a grown person, but then you start to realize that, like, they've got 8 people working on this project.
Right. They sent this off and they were like, "We need this done soonish."
And there's just it's just the way the romance languages especially don't fit over English movies.
Yeah.
Like, just the sentence structure is completely different.
Now, I mean, subtitles in this film, did it bother you at all? It, like, for me, 5 minutes in, I was like, okay, I can listen and read and watch all at the same time. This is fine. I'm good.
Yeah. No, it didn't bug me at all. I watch almost everything with the subtitles on in English.
I go back and forth on that. If it's something that I want to pay, what I like about subtitles in general is that it forces you to pay attention, because especially with a film in another language,
I would look down at my phone and then realize I missed something. I'd have to roll the whole movie back. It's like I can't understand it, and I would get so sucked into it that I'm like, oh yeah, I could totally get this. Like that matches what they're saying perfectly. And then I would look at my phone. I'm like, what did they just say?
What did they?
And I'm like, I don't speak Korean. Like,
right? Duh.
So yeah, I was in it to the point where, like, I stopped thinking about whether or not it was in a different language.
Yeah, I was the same way. Do you know what this movie really reminded me of? Which is, I'm going to say a film that I know you didn't see, but if you like this movie, I think you would also like Thoroughbreds, which is very, very, very similar to this. Oh, it's so similar. It's like Parasite meets Gossip Girl, but way more like Parasite than Gossip Girl.
All right.
Really, the only similarity
isn't that like what is that movie? And not movie, that TV show. Something about liars.
Pretty Little Liars.
Pretty Little Liars.
Okay, imagine that spectrum, but like Pretty Little Liars is close to Gossip Girl. This is close to Parasite.
Okay, I was gonna say like that. That's what you just described.
That is what I just described.
Like, oh, it's Gossip Girl, but we killed somebody. I remember I definitely texted you about 30 minutes into this movie, like when the score starts playing in the really horror movie way, when like Kevin, air quotes, like goes up the stairs for the first time, or maybe it's the girl goes up the stairs for the first time with the mom to meet the kid, and it's like super horror movie script. And I texted you and I was like, I'm waiting for them to just start killing each other.
Oh my gosh, yeah, every single scene I was like, well, somebody is going to die in this scene,
and you were like, that doesn't happen, and then it definitely happened.
That was the thing, is like I watched this movie and people were like describing it as not horror, and that's fine. It's not horror, but it's definitely not like what I was expecting was almost like Hail Caesar, where like they go in and they become the parasites of this family, and then they get out, and then the movie ends. And that's what made it like,
I knew that there was no way they were going to get out.
I didn't know that there was going to be...
They couldn't leave well. That was the thing, is they could not leave well enough alone. Like, they could have stopped after the 2 kids. They could have stopped after the dad. But they had to go that last step. They literally talked about, like, oh, this woman is, like, you know, she's on it. She's all there. And they were still, like... She's been here
longer than the family.
Yeah, she's been here longer than the family. She survived a change of ownership. And they're like, nah, let's get her out. And I was like, yes, this is the moment. This is where you push too hard.
Yeah. And then when she showed up and rang the doorbell right at about an hour in, I was like, oh, she's just going to kill all of them.
Oh, when that doorbell rang, my spine stopped working.
I was like, oh,
this is it. This is where it goes. This is where it breaks bad. And it is definitely where it breaks bad, but in a way I never could have thought.
Right.
Like, people, because that was the whole argument, is people were like, what is the parasite? And I'm like, at the end of it, I'm like, what is the parasite?
Wait, you don't know what the parasite is?
I mean, yeah, I do. I get it. But like, it's so multi-leveled.
Yeah, so they like live in the sewer, and then they become the parasites to these rich folks. And there's no bugs in the movie except in the sewer and on the dead man's body.
Yeah. I mean, they don't live in a sewer. They live in a basement.
They live in a basement that gets flooded by sewage.
Yeah, that's apparently a big problem in Seoul.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by the scene where she was like, the scene where he's driving and she's in the car and she's like, thank goodness for this rain. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, obviously he's definitely not justified in what he does at the end. But you like just that character development is fascinating.
Right. Yeah. It's just, there's such a disconnect there.
Yes.
And like, you and I have never been poor. Like, even we were in college and broke. It's like, we still had food.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We still had food. We still had everything we'd ever need.
Right. There's a not to say that there's not a false messed up distribution of wealth in the States, but like, this is a level that doesn't exist here.
Correct.
Like, you're led to believe that the Kims, the parasites, are pretty well off for people of their station.
They have phones.
Yeah, they have phones.
And they have friends who are in like college and things, and they know like they're smart.
Exactly, and that leads you to believe there's a worse place to be.
Yeah,
and that's just wild. I don't know. This movie left me not speechless, but like, I didn't see it before it won the Oscar, and I was definitely like, okay, is the hype there? And it took me like 5 minutes to realize that, like, yeah, the hype is there.
Yeah, it's a beautifully shot. It's very, very good. Do I think this is the only movie that could have won Best Picture this year? No.
No, I think 2019 was truly a really good year for movies.
Yeah. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had a fair run at it. Honestly, I mean, I know this is after the fact, and this is definitely a great film that we should be celebrating and excited about, but I also think that there's a conversation where at least one of the fandom movies of the year makes a run at Best Picture, but like, truly, there's so many good options. I don't say that to take away from any of them. I say that because they are all good.
I'm truthfully glad that none of the fandom movies got a nomination for Best Picture.
I thought it was interesting. I'm not like upset by any means, right? The whole point of the Oscars is to shed light on art films and then have them make money so that hopefully we can make more money for more art films, and people can like more creatively think about the experience of going to the movies and engage with the medium in a new way. So like, I'm cool with nominating an $11 million movie from Seoul that is fantastic in every single way and letting it win. I'm 100% on board with that. I don't want that to be taken away at all, because I think you could easily make an argument for this being the best movie of the year. But I also think a lot about how like the ranking system doesn't make any sense. Like, there are not countless, but I don't know, 15 films from 2019, all in that sort of god tier echelon that could be described as the best film of the year. It's like do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like that.
And again, like, Black Panther got nominated for almost everything last year. And what people are forgetting is that like, Joker is a fandom movie.
Joker is a fandom movie.
Like, even I forgot it just now, because I was like, wow, none of the fandom movies really did get nominated. And I was like, wait a minute.
The DC
Joker made like $1 billion.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is it's not DCEU. Like,
will he not exist with Robert Pattinson? Is that what I'm led to believe?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. I don't know. My understanding of the DCEU is that we are assuming that DC wants to do the same thing Marvel did.
Well, no. We're not assuming anything. They have said that. Now they're trying to go back on it because a bunch of those movies failed. That was their plan.
I think if you're DC, that's what you have to do, right? Like,
yeah, but I also think that they should be punished heavily for it.
They made a bunch of terrible movies and people didn't pay to see them.
Right.
And currently they have what's likely a really good movie out that made $33 million its opening weekend, which led the box office, but is an abysmal score for a superhero film.
Well, it's February, I guess.
It's still an abysmal number for a superhero film.
Oh, for sure. But I truly think that Endgame took the theater boom with it. I really believe that.
Endgame did something to the movies that we're not going to see again for a long time, I think.
Right, like, but people were like, when Endgame ended, people were like, there were a bunch of people that legitimately thought, I can stop going to the movies every freaking month now.
Yeah, I thought about closing shop on the podcast, you know?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But it's like last year you had a Netflix movie get nominations for everything. This year you had 2, and you had a movie that is in a different language win Best Picture. Like things are changing from those perspectives, and like we had 10 and some change years of like we're gonna go to the movies a lot. We're going to go to the theater a lot. Like we're revitalizing movie theaters. And then, everything's down right now. Like everything across the board is down right now.
Like Rise of Skywalker, did it do $1 billion? I'm sure it did. It must have.
Yeah, but it wasn't like I stopped after 5 days. I stopped hearing about it.
Yeah, I think that was the nail in the coffin. Was like, okay, we made it through Marvel. We did the Spider-Man thing, and then we did Star Wars, and it was the last Star Wars, and the last Marvel, and I'm done. If I wasn't done before, I'm done now.
Rise of Skywalker made $1.064 billion.
You go, Rise of Skywalker.
1.064. That's nothing.
Scary to think that that's nothing, isn't it?
No, but that's the thing is I'm stoked. We were talking to James about it. It's like I am not ready for more MCU.
No, I know.
Like,
and I don't think Black Widow even particularly looks that good. The most recent spot, the one they did during the Oscars, I thought looked better than the other ones that I'd seen.
I'm still not excited, especially since I just watched 2 movies back to back where I did not particularly enjoy Scarlett Johansson.
You watched Jojo Rabbit and
Marriage Story.
Oh, I want to watch Marriage Story.
It's really good, but Adam Driver carries that movie for sure. I hate to be that guy that's like, oh man, Scarlett Johansson got a nomination because of how good the other guy did, but like he really he got those nominations for both of them. For Laura Dern too.
Laura Dern was I haven't seen Marriage Story, but Laura Dern we're giving the world to Laura Dern in 2020. The Jurassic World.
Is one of those coming out this year?
I don't know. Are they still doing them?
Yeah, they're making a 3rd one.
Oh, rock on. Go Chris Pratt. Go Laura Dern.
Laura Dern was not in the other 2.
Well,
I believe Laura Dern was in Jurassic Park and that was it. Like,
yeah, but that's the one that everybody cares about.
I mean, for sure, it was Ellie Sattler. But then, like, they replaced her with a different blonde woman in the next movie.
She still looks like she could be the young woman in Jurassic Park.
That's fair. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
I had a comment. But yeah, no, this was just a really good, like, there were movies last year that were nominated for all the awards for Best Picture where I was like, okay, there's no way these are going to win.
And then it won.
What? No, last year.
Yeah, last year. The one you said, no way this will win, and it won.
No, I definitely thought that one was going to win.
You thought Green Book was going to win?
I thought I was in with a shot for sure.
Really?
Yeah, dude. It's exactly the kind of crap the Oscars has historically liked to pull.
I don't even remember what else was nominated last year, which is such a problem. And I'm so mad that the Oscars does this to me, where it's like, if the Oscars nominates it, I immediately forget about all other great movies I saw last year, and it makes me really sad.
I mean, I would say that the 2 best movies I saw this year were not nominated for really anything.
I don't want to listen, we're not doing the IMDb tunnel. Laura Dern is confirmed in Jurassic World 3 as
really?
Ellie Sattler. Oh, yeah.
Wild.
Oh, yeah. She was also the voice in the Jurassic World Evolution video game.
Okay.
And she was Franny in The Fault in Our Stars. You're welcome.
Yeah, I know that. That was 6 years ago.
I know.
She was also Vice Admiral Emmeline Holdo.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was.
A movie that I loved.
Yeah, I did
Last year was Green Book, Black Panther, Black Klansman, The Favorite, Bohemian Rhapsody, Roma, A Star is Born, and Vice. But like, realistically, Vice did not deserve a nomination. Bohemian Rhapsody absolutely did not deserve a nomination. And there's not a movie, I mean, I am mad at Joker, but a lot of people liked it. There's not a movie on the list this year where I was like, and I've watched all but 2 of them now.
Which ones are you missing? I know you're missing Joker. What's the other one?
1917. Which I very much want to see. It's theaters.
Right. My thing with, yeah. I'm still not going to talk about Joker on this show.
No, I'm not either.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix's acceptance speech was the wackest thing I've ever heard in my life.
What was that? He was like talking, and you were a few seconds ahead of me. And at first I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And then I sent a message. I was like, speech ain't bad. And you were like, what are you talking about? And
then because I just got through, we take an artificially inseminated cow and we steal its babies.
Right. And I was like, and then like, as soon as you said, what are you talking about? That started on my screen. And I was like, oh God.
Facts. Yeah, for sure. But no, Parasite was such a good movie. It's definitely better than the singular other Bong Joon-ho movie that I've seen, which is Snowpiercer.
Oh, we talked about Snowpiercer on the show, not as like an episode, but about a concept.
It's a very concept movie. It is a very cool concept with a very cool script that is just like, it's one of those movies where it's got like a 93%, and I'm like, I can't find anything wrong with it, but it was all right. It was good. It was a fun movie. It's incredibly predictable. Literally everything happens in a straight line.
Yeah, because it's on a train?
It's on a train, yeah. They start at the back of the train and get to the front of the train, and that's the movie.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Who doesn't love traveling to the front of a train?
No, I mean, it's a very cool movie. It's got Chris Evans, Tilda Swinton, and John Hurt, and Ed Harris, and a bunch of Korean people.
And Ed Helms. No, I'm kidding. He's not.
It does not have Ed Helms.
Can you imagine? This is this hardcore movie. And look, is that Jason Sudeikis?
It does also have a important character named Namgung in it.
Is that a reference to this movie?
That is the name of the architect in this movie.
Oh,
the guy
yes,
who owned
and
built the house.
Yes, he built the house. And the family that replaced him were from Germany, which I did not get at first. I didn't realize they moved out.
Yeah, they moved out because Mr. Park was dead.
Right. She probably didn't have any money then. Well, she
probably had his money. I don't know how that works in South Korea.
Fine.
But I can also, I can understand not particularly wanting to live in the house where your husband was killed.
Yeah, I can totally get that.
Yeah.
Hundo P.
I'm just looking at Chris Evans' face right now. It's distracting.
It is distracting.
It's just this weird Wikipedia picture of him with his mouth slightly open that I accidentally clicked and made full screen. Hang on, I'll drop it in the Skype chat if I can.
Skype is the weirdest program.
That probably didn't work. That did not work. There we go. I just accidentally full screened this picture of this picture of Chris Evans, where it's just it's clearly from a panel or something, and he's just like, what? And it distracted me from talking about Parasite. I'm gonna go back to the Wikipedia page for Parasite so I can.
Now there are other movies with this title. Are they the same film or no? This is original screenplay.
Yes, original screenplay.
Okay, because when I looked it up, it was the 6th result on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like,
it's you look up any single word on Rotten Tomatoes and you get some wild results.
It's true. Yeah, there's a lot of films. But now I really enjoyed this movie. Do you have any desire to ever see it again?
Yeah, I would absolutely. Like I said, I would go watch it again if it was in black and white. I would go watch it in theaters.
Yep.
Honestly, I really enjoyed the color in this movie. I thought it was aggressively green.
There's a lot of green.
I was there's a lot of shots where I was like, this is a beautiful, and I guess I just don't like green in stuff as much as some other people.
Well,
I've noticed that about myself as a photographer, where the color of grass doesn't interest me that much. Where I'll look at people's pictures and I'm like, you really like this, but this is a lot of green. And that's how I felt about this movie. I was like, this is an aggressive amount of grass. And I get that it's a disparity thing. There's no grass in Seoul.
Right. It's also they're insects and they live in the grass.
Yes.
I cannot stress enough how much they are the cockroaches in this house.
Yeah, for sure. And everything would have been fine if they just left well enough alone. They could have gotten 3 of them in there.
They could have gotten 3 of them in there, or they could have just, not all been there. I don't think anybody should have been there when they were out camping.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was a definite, there's things about this movie that are very predictable, and also things, and that's why it's a great script, is there's things that lead you down a road, and then it doesn't go there.
Yes, and I did not expect, when the housekeeper was, in the weird position trying to open the thing, I thought she was trying to kill herself.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought she was trying to, get high enough that she could fall and die.
I absolutely did as well.
And they would have this problem of, a dead body in the basement.
Yeah, certainly. Which they did have that problem.
They did, yeah.
And that's the thing is, as soon as they left to go camping, I was like, oh, the family's going to come over, and that's going to be a problem because the family is going to come back. And not exactly what happened, but what did end up happening. And then I was like, oh, when the doorbell rang, I could totally see that coming. And I was like, somebody's going to come over. And the doorbell rang, and it was the old housekeeper. And I was like, oh, she's just going to kill them all. Well, not quite.
Not quite. Who ends up dying? The daughter.
Daughter ends up dying. Yeah. Spoilers. Yeah. I guess we've made it this far in. You probably have seen the movie. If you haven't, you probably don't care about seeing the movie.
Or if you have.
But we have been talking about it very vaguely. So people that haven't seen the movie are like, what is going on in this movie?
So let me run down a synopsis of the film.
We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. So basically, the story is about this poor family in Korea who the youngest, I guess he's the youngest, right? The son in the family meets his friend, and his friend says, I currently tutor for this young girl, but I am going abroad and I think you should take over. And so he takes over, and it's with this ultra rich family. And so he finds ways to get the rest of his family jobs working there. And it's like a con. They're not they don't reveal that they're family. They're
right. He recommends the sister recommends the dad recommends the mom, and they get a couple people fired.
Right. But you don't feel like you're cheering for their team for most of the time.
Yeah, they're the protagonists.
Even though it kind of turns to them being the villains. But so they get they're all hired there, and it's this whole elaborate how are we going to keep working here? The kid with the youngest child of the family that they're working for notices they all smell the same, so they have to start showering differently. And then it goes on, and eventually one of the people that got fired shows up, and it turns out she's been a housekeeper in the house since before the family got there, and she has been harboring her husband in the basement of this home for 10 years. And he's happy to live down there because the commentary is that people in this social class are essentially cockroaches. But so are the
right. He was in trouble with the loan sharks, and that's just a thing that happens in Asian countries.
Right, and then all of these rich Asian homes have these secret.
Yeah, they even said they have bunkers for in case the creditors show up.
Right,
which is some bonkers stuff.
Yeah, and the owners don't know about it, and it's like this weird, crazy situation in the basement. So then, obviously, things fall apart when the family goes away for a weekend, but it's raining and they're going camping, so they have to come back. But while they're coming back, the old housekeeper shows up and it reveals everything, and then they show up while like the house is a wreck, and then just kind of falls apart from there.
Right. Yeah. The mother of the family accidentally kills the old housekeeper by pushing her down a flight of stairs, and she dies. And then her husband attacks the son the next day and then kills the daughter. And then the mother kills him. And then the dad kills the rich guy and then hides in the basement.
Yeah. Oh, the ending's good.
Yeah, the ending is definitely good, for sure.
Yes, God tier. It's kind of like Get Out in a lot of ways, where it's like super anxiety building the entire time. It is like this ultra tense movie where your heart is racing through every single scene.
Oh, for sure.
And you don't know when it's going to happen, but you know ish is going to go down.
It's a very slow burn, for sure. Like, it takes an hour for really anything to happen. Right. You're never bored. You're like, oh, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
And they keep just getting themselves right. And the whole thing is
and
like...
they get deeper and deeper in.
Yeah, they get deeper and deeper in. And the whole thing is like the youngest son once saw the husband in the basement. Oh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. That whole shot.
Yeah, once saw the husband that shot of him coming up the stairs with the crazy eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. Once saw the husband in the basement and then started having a seizure and has like a traumatic experience because of that, and is kind of like they're very
careful with him. Yeah.
Yeah. And really, like, honestly, they have some negative traits for sure, but this family is really only guilty of being rich.
And yeah, they're not like, they're very smart. Apparently they're just ignorant to like the issues of the world.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying, is their crime is being of the upper class and not really having
and incredibly reckless with their money, to the point where like this whole family is working for them, living on a pretty solid income, but like anytime the family needs them to do anything, they're like, oh yeah, we'll just pay you overtime. It's no big deal. Like nothing is a big deal. There's no financial strain
because
on them.
they're paying 4 salaries to the same family, but it's nothing for them.
Right.
But like they clearly care about their kids. You know, they kept showing scenes of the dad and the son like really digging each other.
Yes.
And so it's definitely trying to paint them as like they're good people that have flaws just like everybody else. There's some complicated commentary here for sure.
And the poor family is like bad people. Like
definitely.
The father talks about how like it's pointless to have ambition or a plan because it'll never go the way you expect it to. But
that's just that. I mean, that's a lot of those cultures, man. It's like when I was in India, I met a girl who went to one of the schools that we played at, and she was like she was majoring in biochemical engineering at this, basically the Virginia Tech of India. And she was like, yeah, no, people of my class, especially or people of my caste, especially women of my caste, usually don't have jobs like this. And like my parents were trying to discourage me from trying to rise above my station the whole time. And just using this very like what I would consider to be outdated language about like the way we look at things like that, but it's still a real thing there. So it's like, it's a whole different
way of thinking entirely.
Thinking about things. Yeah.
There's this other like constant theme throughout the film of this sort of superstition of things that bring wealth, and one of them is this stone that the son carries around. And like when he first receives it, it is like really well presented in this beautiful box, and it's heavy, and they say, oh, this is supposed to bring wealth. And it's like this like pretty rock that looks like sort of like a cliff face that you would like display in your house. Like it looks really...
It's a scholar's rock. It's a thing.
It's not something I'm familiar with, but...
No, but it's like, if you Google that, it's like, it's a thing.
Okay. But by the end of the film, it has it's brought them like money, and in turn, like the evils that come with money, mo problems. But then by the end, he like sticks it in the water, and it just looks like a river rock.
Yeah. But also like it literally brings them material wealth, because the dude that brought them wealth.
Yeah. Like in that scene, he's like, hey, I brought the stone for you. Also, I got you a job.
Yeah. You can buy scholar's rocks.
Can you? How much are they?
Lots.
Yeah. Like how much is it? $2,500 or like?
Yeah. Like anywhere from like 900 to like 10,000.
Really?
Yeah. You can get Chinese scholar's rocks and Korean scholar's rocks.
Huh.
Gongshi and Susyo.
This is truthfully not something I'd ever heard of before.
It is. I'm not trying to say that I had heard of it, but it's like when it came up on screen, I was like, pause. I'm going to Google this and see if this is a real thing. I'm curious.
Is this real? Is this, I feel so weird. Can I talk about this? I feel very weird that I'm like afraid to admit that there are things about this culture that I don't know, as though exploring art like this isn't all about learning things about a culture I know nothing about.
Right.
Like, that's the whole point of not the whole point of watching this, but that's part of the celebration of watching foreign films is learning things about that culture.
Yeah, because we pour everything from culture into movies. We just don't notice it because, like, we watch predominantly, like, American movies or British movies.
Right.
Movies made in English-speaking countries. And even when, like, a black person makes a movie in America, we're like, what?
No way! That's what you experience?
Right, like, when somebody makes an honest movie about, like, what black people deal with, everybody turns their head and is like, oh my god, but this isn't like Tyler Perry said it was.
Right. But even beyond that, if you put into your Blu-ray player Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you see an outpouring of culture that probably just looked like movie the year it came out.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
I think Bong Joon-ho was quoted after this movie came out, or after his maybe during one of his speeches, as saying, if Americans can get over the 1-inch barrier of subtitles, they can see a lot more great movies.
And he's exactly right. I think a lot of people are going to see this one.
Definitely. That's what I love about the Oscars is, and I had tweeted about this, but it usually puts a worth watching stamp on a good movie.
Correct. But I stand by what I said. This isn't the end-all be-all of good cinema in 2020 or 2019. And that's sort of the double-edged sword of it, is like, there were a lot of good movies that didn't get celebrated, but there's also now a lot of movies that did get celebrated. Like 10 movies, or however many there were, that were celebrated and will be seen by a lot more people because they were Oscar-nominated.
Yeah. Like I said, I watched 7 of 9, and definitely out of those 7, I think almost all of them immediately, well, I saw a couple of them before, but almost all of them made their way into my, top 10, top 15 list.
Ever?
No, for the year.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, dang.
No, ever, I don't know. That's complicated. Definitely, there were some that stuck with me for sure, but none of them not necessarily the ones that got nominated.
Yeah. And speaking about the show itself, the Oscars, I really liked the show.
I thought it was a really good show this year.
Yeah.
It was funny. There was lots of good bits. I think Diane Keaton and Keanu Reeves were just high.
You think that's what it was?
It seemed like it, because neither of them could, like, talk.
Well, sometimes they do that where, like, they'll go out and do this bit. I've noticed
Diane Keaton was, like, wearing a hat and sunglasses indoors.
I've noticed that it's this bit you see at the Oscars every few years where they just come out and, like, pretend that they're not there. And I don't like it. It's not funny.
There were some funny bits. Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell pretending not to know what the jobs were and, like, talking smack about editors for all the times they've been edited out of movies. That was funny.
But if you hear that introduction to the award and you win for cinematography, are you like, thanks, guys?
No, I think Roger Deakins was like, I've got up there for cinematography and was like, when he heard this is Roger Deakins' second win and 15th nomination, he was just like, thank you.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun making 1917.
Yeah. Which that was hands down. Like, I haven't even seen that movie and I know that was a hands down win. Like,
oh, yeah. Although this Parasite film, had you seen it? It has a bunch of good shots.
Oh, for sure. This movie did a lot. And that's the thing is, like, this is why I love art films, is because, like, anybody could put a camera on a tripod. But Bong Joon-ho puts a camera on a tripod better than most people.
Yes.
Like, there was a lot of locked off shots in this movie that I'm like, that was beautiful.
There's shots of the basement door, man. And how the basement door, like, there is no door to it. It's just darkness.
Well, and literally the first scene of the son trying to find the house, where it's a big wide alley that you see him walk into the shot and you're, like, looking down at him, and then he, like, walks halfway up and it switches to the camera being at the bottom. It was, like, early in the movie and I was like, this is really good shots, but they're literally just, like, locked off single shots.
The whole thing was cool.
It really was.
My heart was racing all day. I bet I lost 15 pounds today.
I don't think you lost 15 pounds today.
Hey, I get my splat points.
Did you see the video that Andy Bell posted?
No.
About the guys that won for sound mixing or sound design, sound editing, maybe sound mixing.
Oh, yeah,
I
he
said
know. He'd watch it, but, like, watch it with headphones or something.
Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah.
I watched that whole thing and I'm sitting here like, oh man, these are the guys that won the Oscars. Like, and I was like, why don't they just do every movie like this? Like the sound for every movie like this. I'm like, because it took these dudes like a year.
Right.
And they're the dudes that won the Oscar. Like, it took me a minute to realize that, like, there's a reason that movies win these tech awards, is because, like, those people work on those movies.
So, like, the way I think about it is like, oh, you just do it right and you'll win. But when I edit any podcast, I listen to it at 2 times speed and I don't cut out ums and I don't do, and instead of, like, manually removing silences while the other person is talking, I just assume that the editing software does it for me. So I definitely get, like, there's a certain comfortability to, and I'm not, nobody's going to hire me to mix their movie. obviously.
Right.
But even at my amateur level, I don't do it as well as I know that I could.
Oh, for sure. And it's like so much of winning Oscars is about putting the right team together.
Yes.
And that's the thing is like rarely do you see a movie nominated for Best Picture that was only nominated for Best Picture.
Was there any this year? I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
Little Women? No, that got costumes.
Little Women was nominated for everything.
Oh, was it? Just not director.
Just not director, yeah.
Rest in peace.
It may not have been cinematography either. But also those are like a hard cap 5 movies usually.
Yeah.
But it's like for some reason that just clicked with me this year where I was like, maybe these are good movies because a bunch of they sort of planned them to be good movies, you know?
Right. They hire people who are going to do the job well.
It definitely, but like in the past, I've just always thought about it as like, oh man, lightning really struck for these people. But then I hear Roger Deakins is, nominated 15 times for cinematography. I'm like, okay, maybe this is the guy.
Yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy knows what the people want, but not just us people with the... Actually, you know what it is? It's not this guy knows what the people want. It's this guy wants what the people want.
Right.
And he doesn't want it because the people want it. He wants it because he wants it, and the people want it because he wants it.
You lost me there. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, it's like if you look at the credits of Roger Deakins, the cinematographer who won for best cinematography, you're not confused as to where they found that name.
Right. Well, it's like, if you're ever playing FIFA and you're like, I'm going to get this 1-star recruiter who I'm going to send to Brazil, and 2 seasons from now I'm going to have the best team in the world, and 2 seasons from then you have no players worthwhile. It's like, oh, I wonder why that happened.
Right.
It's like, oh, because I didn't invest money where it mattered.
Right. And so if you're doing a movie about cars, you got to hire the people that know what they're doing with sound, for sure.
Yes.
But you should go watch that video with your Bose headphones. It was a worthwhile 11 minutes.
I'm sure I can carve out 11 minutes to knock that out.
Yeah, it was fascinating because they just basically spend the whole time looking at different scenes, turning things on and off. Mm-hmm. And they're just at one point they were like, let's hear what this would sound like with wooden footsteps or with metal footsteps.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're just sitting there yeah, no, so it's actually concrete in the scene, but concrete didn't sound right. And that's what always fascinates me about sound design is when it's well, we couldn't use the actual thing because it just didn't sound right.
And that makes sense.
It's such a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
Where it's the boulder in Indiana Jones is that dude's Honda Civic gently rolling down a gravel road.
That's crazy.
But amplified. It's the lightsaber is a chainsaw and a movie projector.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's the sound. It's by
yeah, I guess so.
It's the sound that maybe it's not a chainsaw. It's some kind of power tool, I think, that you get. It's the sound that you get from miking up the movie projector while you run a chainsaw next to it. Where you get that yeah. So those dudes are fascinating for sure. There's a lot that goes into making a movie, and that was the thing is everything in this movie was flawlessly executed.
Oh my gosh, yes. Even the daughter.
Brutal.
It wasn't too gory either. Obviously there was the scene where there was blood, but it did a pretty good job of avoiding that problem.
Yeah, it took a very you know how Taika Waititi handled it in Hunt for the Wilder People. It's a step back from that.
No, I think it's more like Us, where Us was people are getting brutally murdered on screen, and there's just a slice of blood here.
I mean, that's true.
This movie also reminded me a lot of Us.
It's definitely less violent and less gory than Us.
Yes, that was a good film.
Oh, Us was great. Yeah, snubbed. Big old snub this year.
I don't know.
I mean, not a single nomination.
Yeah, that was but they called that out during Janelle Monáe's thing, where there was people in the Us costumes dancing with her, and
not
people
a single nomination.
None for Us, none for Midsummer.
Yeah, none for Midsummer. One total nomination for A24 this year, which was best cinematography for The Lighthouse.
Listen, I haven't even seen The Lighthouse, and I know for a fact that it should have won
for best cinematography.
Well, I guess maybe not over 1917, but that's
that was just that you're playing at that point. Every other movie is playing with half a deck.
Right.
I get it. It's one of those things where it's kind of cheesy, but it's you're going to make a war movie in the style of Birdman.
You made a convincing one shot.
Yeah. You made a war movie into a convincing oneer. That's impressive.
Well, a lot of those shots in the movie are, 14 minutes long. They're not short.
But have you seen war movies?
Yes.
That's a lesson on cuts, my guy. That is Steven Spielberg knows or pays somebody to know how to cut Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar.
Chopped to bits.
Yep.
Just 27 cameras, just stuff flying in from all over the place. And that was the impressive thing about just the shots that I've seen from 1917 is how they pulled off the effects along with the shooting.
And what blows my mind about 1917 is every time you watch a preview for it, it obviously doesn't do it any justice whatsoever.
Because the trailers are so whack because of it.
Well, because
there's no way
Yeah,
There's no way to cut it into a trailer.
You can't just grab 45 seconds of it because it's still not convincing. Like, I don't think I would notice. I mean, I would, but I don't think the average person would notice like a 45-second oneer.
Yeah, like literally, I've said it before about the trailer for 1917, the first one that came out, where they have the awkward follow shot of the guy walking into the bunker. And it just looks really weird for a trailer, but I didn't know that it was shot like that.
Yeah.
When I saw the trailer, I was like, this is a really weird follow shot. Like, why are they putting this in the trailer? And then I was like, oh, because the whole movie's like this.
When are we going to make Bacon and Eggs and Movie Lovers movie?
Which is all shot in a oneer.
Let me tell you something straight up. I'm 90% certain that if we made a movie, like if we went to studio and we were like, please give us $100 million, and we made a movie and we put it together, it would get a 0% critic rating.
Well, none of us know anything about making movies.
We'd be like, yeah, I know how to operate a camera, but I don't know how to direct actors. I don't know how to act.
Let me tell you, you do not even know how to operate a movie camera.
No, I don't. You're exactly right.
You could not turn it on.
There's a lot of cables involved here. Where do I plug these in? And now they're everywhere. Crap.
Like, Roger Deakins got up there for cinematography and, like, thanked his first, second, and third focus pullers. The people whose job it is to make sure that the camera is focused, because that's a whole person's job.
Right. For 8 months on a set, that is one man's trabajo.
That is a job. And that's like the first, if you want to be a cinematographer, that's the first job you do.
Yeah. And
you're like third focus puller.
And you work for Roger Deakins.
No, I think that Roger Deakins focus pullers probably are cinematographers.
Career guys. Yeah.
Yeah, career guys. They're lifers.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably like a job that you give to like Peter McKinnon.
Who's Peter McKinnon? Why is
He's a YouTuber.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I was like Peter McKinnon, Peter Jackson, Percy Jackson, the lightning thief himself.
That's the job you give to Percy Jackson.
The lightning thief.
The lightning thief himself. Who knew? Also great at focusing a camera.
Great, just exceptional. He will get Reese Witherspoon in a shot on a dramatic streaming service television show like you wouldn't believe.
Reese Witherspoon coming out of nowhere with that win, by the way.
What did she win for?
Not Reese Witherspoon, sorry.
Renee Zellweger.
Renee Zellweger.
I was like,
sorry,
Reese Witherspoon was in a movie?
Confused. I got confused.
Renee Zellweger is an RW.
Yeah, but there's a W in there. I've always had them locked together in my brain for some reason.
That's so weird because they don't look similar at all.
They don't, but like they're the same person to me.
Renee Zellweger falls into the category of oh my gosh, who does she remind me of? Oh my god.
I don't know. She came out of nowhere with that Best Actress win.
Uma Thurman.
Well, they have both not really been in movies recently.
That's true.
Renee Zellweger was in a movie about Judy Garland that 8 people saw.
It's true. I would like to see it. It looks great.
It does look great, but I don't think I looked all the way at the nomination list, apparently, because I don't remember her being nominated, and then they got up there and showed the clip from Judy, and I was like, who's playing Judy Garland? They were like, Renee Zellweger from Judy, and I was like, what?
Yes.
And they turned around and was like, oh, and she wins, too, and I was like, what?
Yes, it was Cynthia Erivo, the one black acting nominee.
Yeah.
Saoirse Ronan, Charlize Theron. Saoirse?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm the worst.
It's all good.
Charlotte Johansson. Oh, sorry, Charlotte Johansson. Johansson, son of Johan. Yeah, Parasite.
And then
was so good. Renee Zellweger.
So good
For Judy.
Renee Zellweger would have ruined this movie.
You think Renee Zellweger wouldn't fit in this movie?
It would have been really weird if she like came in and was just like, "What's up, guys?"
There's a movie that had one white person in it for like one shot. You don't think Renee Zellweger would have fit?
Yeah, no, I don't. It's entirely Korean.
Correct. You don't think
I don't think she speaks Korean at all.
How is Renee Zellweger?
I don't even think that Renee Zellweger could read the script.
I don't think she could. I couldn't.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like you can't be a white person in this movie. You can't even like fake it. You can't read the script.
There's only one white person that I saw, right? It's the dad of the German family. It was the only white person I saw in the whole movie. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Sam Jackson was in it. He was an extra in the saloon scene.
Nah, that was a different movie.
You know, it's interesting. I'm glad I didn't buy this movie. I'm never going to watch it again. But I'm glad I saw it.
Oh, man. Twitter exploded when Bong Joon-ho won for Best Director for this movie. And they're just like, you're gonna pick this person over Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
And like, I cannot imagine two people who would probably be more excited to lose to like a very nice drunk Korean man.
He quoted Scorsese in this Best Director speech.
That we know of.
What do you mean?
His translator could have said, his interpreter could have said anything.
Is translator not the right word?
It's interpreter, yeah.
Oh, what can you shed some light on why that is? Because I don't know. I've never heard that.
Maybe? I believe. I know it is interpreter. I cannot exactly remember why. I believe translation is written and interpretation is spoken.
Gotcha. The person was good at their job. As soon as he said like 6 words, I was like, well, and I'm lost.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she was very good. She is apparently also a filmmaker and I think worked on the movie.
Was she the daughter?
She was not the daughter. But she has apparently been with him through all of this whole award season, like including the festivals and everything. And she's apparently making a movie about what it's like to be an Asian doing American festivals and award seasons.
It's called Parasite 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, it's called Parasite 2, People Are Mean to Koreans.
It's called Parasite 2, you didn't nominate any black people, but you did nominate Korean people.
You did nominate, well, you nominated Korean person.
Korean person.
Because there was no acting nominees for this movie.
I was surprised by that. The acting I thought was really good, but I
thought it was as well.
I don't know that it was any better than, like, I've only seen clips of Joker, but listen, I don't think it ever should have been nominated for anything, especially not after there was like a discussion about whether or not Heath Ledger would win supporting actor. And he did. Good job. But like all the clips I've seen from that movie are somebody read a script and made that come to life in a horrifying way.
Man, I don't want to talk about Joker too much by any means. I did not realize that was the song that was playing when he was walking down the stairs.
What song is it? It's like
Rock and Roll Part 2.
Yes.
That we played as a stand tune.
Yes. The Hey song.
Yeah. Hey.
Da, 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 da.
No. Hey. Yeah, that's the song apparently. Because I remember the tweet when the movie first came out that was just like, everything combined here so perfectly. His dancing, the sound of the bells, the music. And it was like a GIF without sound,
and you can like hear this, like I would have thought it was like an opera track.
I would have thought it was like when Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption plays the Italian opera music.
Yes, that's exactly
the French
what
opera music, and Morgan Freeman's like, I don't know what those two French ladies were singing about, but I knew they sounded happy. That's exactly what I pictured. Or like a score. It won for best score, which is wild.
Yeah, I don't feel like when I think Joker, I don't think like no Joker.
Yeah, but then it was like, yeah, and they played the clip during the I think it was production design or whatever. One of the ones where they played the clip and of him walking down the stairs had the music going, and I was like, this is what plays.
Yeah,
this song, Rock and Roll Part 2 by Gary Glitter.
Gary Glitter, what a name.
This is what plays. And then that girl came up and was just like, I thank you for my Oscar. You, John Williams.
Screw you, Star Wars.
Absolute madness that John Williams did not win for his last Star Wars movie.
I know. What a kick in the face. But like, it's sort of saying we've moved on.
Oh, for sure. But I was just shocked.
Yeah. I don't think it's the same as like Return of the King.
No, I don't either, but it's John Williams.
Yeah.
Like, that very well might be his last movie. And then Randy Newman lost for best score as well for doing Marriage Story, apparently. Randy Newman, the Toy Story guy.
Did Marriage Story, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did Marriage Story. Nominated for 2 Oscars for Best Original Song for Toy Story and Best Original Score.
Yeah.
And that's absolute madness to me.
Yeah, I mean, you could write a movie about anything and make the second word story, and Randy Newman shows up at your door.
Apparently. It's just like, I saw Marriage Story. At no point was I like, this is Randy Newman. Like, Randy Newman's music has like a feel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That was not it. The score in Marriage Story is brilliant, though. Score in this was brilliant. Brilliant music. Absolutely. Knowing when to use music is what this movie did.
What do you know about the movie Harriet?
Absolutely nothing, except that song smacks.
What song?
The song that they played. The one that got nominated.
Oh. All I know is I've never heard of Cynthia Erivo, but I remember seeing the preview and being like, oh, this is just Hamilton, but about actual black people.
So if Cynthia Erivo had won either for Best Actress or Best Original Song, she would have completed her EGOT.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that would have been cool.
So she won and I'm not sure about the, hang on a second. I'll double check on the Emmy part. But she won her Grammy and her Tony for the revival of The Color Purple in 2007 or 16. For like, obviously she won the Tony for being in a musical, and then she won the Grammy for like Best Musical Album. To win the EGOT, you really got to be in a musical. That's the key. You got to be on a Broadway musical. That's the trick.
The challenge. Yeah. Well, that apparently is the challenge, but sounds like Cynthia Erivo and Lin-Manuel are both an Oscar shy.
Yeah, but like, there's lots of people, lots and lots and lots of people who have won Oscars that will never get it.
Oh yeah.
The Tony for most Oscar winners is the hard part.
Yeah, I don't see Leo doing Kinky Boots revival anytime soon.
So she won Outstanding Musical Performance in a Daytime Program.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly what program.
Or what performance?
Let's see.
It must have been like
She sang a song for The Color Purple on the Today Show.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like,
I was going to say Good Morning America.
Or Ellen.
But I love that as of 2016, there is an Emmy for people that go on morning time TV shows and sing stuff.
That's like the one we had the other week that was like best. They were like best guest in a sitcom.
Best young new guest in a family program or whatever.
Yeah.
But literally, they are trying to get people to win their EGOTs now with this award.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier.
Like Ben Platt has an Emmy for singing "You'll Be Found" on the Today Show.
Well, that's such a cop out.
Yeah.
Who has?
It looks like they have all gone to.
Who has the EGOT? Is there a long list of people, or is there less than 10?
It's like 15 people. Hang on.
Okay.
I will tell you. The first one I know was Richard Rodgers of Rodgers and Hammerstein.
I know what that is.
They composed musicals.
And he is also a tight end for the Green Bay Packers. Nailed it.
He is no longer with the Green Bay Packers. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15. Yeah, 15 people who have won the EGOT, including John Legend.
What a club.
Yeah, so you got Richard Rodgers, Helen Hayes. I don't know who that is.
John Legend, I believe, could do it. Because John Legend, he wrote a song for...
Guy Gould, Audrey Hepburn, Mel Brooks, Whoopi Goldberg, Scott Rudin, John Legend, Andrew Lloyd Webber, and Tim Rice. And then some other people I never heard of.
So it's about writing music for the most part, it looks like.
Yeah. John Legend, Andrew Lloyd Webber, and Tim Rice all won theirs in the same year, which I have to imagine was for that Jesus Christ Superstar thing, the live TV one.
Oh, must have been.
That had to have completed all of that for... What does John Legend win an Oscar for?
La La Land.
Did he do? What did he have to do with La La Land?
He performed a song in it.
Did he?
Yeah, but that would have been... I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's his Oscar.
Looking at it. Academy Award. No. Original song for Glory from Selma.
Really?
Yep. John Legend and Common.
Huh.
So Common has an Oscar. That's wild.
Makes you think about when they do Cribs at Soulja Boy's house. He was like, yeah, I got the big pimpin' cup, won that award.
And then Common's like, this is my Oscar.
This is my Oscar.
It's like Eminem came out and performed Lose Yourself, the song that he won an Oscar for, like
18 years ago,
and didn't go to the Oscars. And nobody said, there's no hosts, so nobody said anything about it. It just happened. It's like Taika Waititi came out, or no, Lin-Manuel Miranda came out and introduced a montage
and then it ended
of songs that have won Best Original Song. And then at the end, they played Lose Yourself, and Eminem rose out of the stage and performed Lose Yourself.
Yeah, they played this and
then they went to commercial.
Lin-Manuel introduces like this whole montage, and then at the end a white rapper comes out and sings.
Yeah, Anthony Ramos, who was in Hamilton and is going to probably be nominated for Best Actor next year for In the Heights.
Usnavi.
Good
morning, Usnavi.
Yeah, I definitely, Anthony Ramos came out and was just like, yeah, I've never been to the Oscars before. You could see him looking around like, where am I going to sit next year?
He introduces Lin, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he introduced Lin, who then introduced a montage that introduced Eminem.
I think Lin should have hosted. I think he should host every year. He should host every award show every year.
I like the no host
I also like no host. I thought Chris Rock and Steve Martin were hilarious.
Yeah, doing their so-and-so's here thing.
Yeah, and Janelle Monáe was great.
Yes. That's what I love about the Oscars is that the Academy has absolutely nothing to do with putting the award show on.
Right. They just make their votes.
They give the awards. So Chris Rock can go up there and say whatever he wants with no fear of repercussions.
They're going to ask him to do it again. He's Chris Rock. He's the funniest man alive.
Yeah, Steve Martin was like, now you've hosted the Oscars and I've hosted the Oscars and here we are not hosting the Oscars.
I thought it was funny that, I guess obviously they left right after that, but I thought it was funny that they left right after that.
What do you mean?
Like that they just didn't show up again. They weren't in the crowd. They never, camera never panned to them. They were just gone.
Oh, yeah. God. Chris Rock introducing Cynthia Erivo being there and saying the thing about Cynthia Erivo and Harriet did such a good job of hiding black people that the Academy asked her to hide all the nominees.
Eddie Murphy, you onto the stage.
I was dying, man. Chris Rock and Steve Martin. Steve Martin's just like setting him up to say these things.
Well, because Steve Martin can't say this stuff.
No, exactly, but he gets it.
Yeah. But swinging back around to Parasite, enough about the 92nd annual Oscars.
I think so.
Parasite was fascinating.
Great movie. I don't even know what else to say about it. I was like, this is it's a perfect movie.
It is perfect. I did feel like if this were in English, I don't think it would have worked as well.
No, absolutely not.
Because I don't think, like, there's a certain believability to it that maybe the foreign language helps. I don't think that you would succeed in getting 4 people from the same family to work for this rich family without somebody obviously noticing what's going on. Well, and what I mean by that is not that like all Korean people look the same or anything like that, because that obviously is not the case. Everybody in this movie looked different. I just felt like I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like it would be, I don't know. I felt like the tutor gets the art teacher hired. I mean, exactly what you said. You know, they took it a step too far.
That definitely would not go over like that in the States.
Right. And
that's a completely different cultural thing. It's like, you know, for some of those countries, the word of mouth thing is so much stronger.
I mean, apparently. Again, I wouldn't have known.
I mean, that's not an uncommon, from my experience with especially East Asian cinema, that is not an uncommon theme of like, you're really conscious about who you recommend.
Right.
Or what you recommend and what for. And I definitely think that there's a certain level of, like, I feel like a lot of the characters reminded me a lot of the role that Jin played in Lost, where he just had this like stoicism, this natural stoicism to him.
Yes.
And there was like the actors that played the Kims were so just able to be so detached from everything in a way that like American actors are not able to do.
Yes.
Like their stoicism, their detachment, their like ability to disconnect from what they're doing felt so natural in this movie in a way that it just wouldn't have with in a different language. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
This is a really tough conversation to have.
It is. I do think there's this weird thing where I don't this is sort of changing gears here. I love that this movie was nominated. I love that it won. But it is like weird to go into the award shows and the award seasons and everything and be like, man, all of these movies that were nominated and won things were for straight cis white men. And it's very tough for me, a straight cis white man, to be like, yeah, screw those movies that I really liked and were made for me. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like this weird.
I'm confused. Which movies?
Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right? Like this is a movie made for straight cis white dudes, 100%, right?
Yeah, but other people, like, that's the difference between a movie like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and a difference. Not that we should make movies to pander to straight cis white dudes, but like a lot of people that are not straight cis white dudes like that movie.
Because it's awesome.
Because there's a certain level of like, there's definitely a certain level of especially when it comes to movies, but like even so more so with books and everything, is like the idea of not telling someone else's story. You know what I mean? Like there's and it's a much more recent thing where you're supposed to write and make movies sort of inside your lane.
Yes, and that's what.
But then like you also can't tell these people that are great filmmakers to not make you can tell them to make movies inside their lane, but then you can't get mad when they continue to make movies.
Right. And that was that was the comment that Bong Joon-ho made, was that like Scorsese says the best movies are the ones that are most personal to you, which was kind of a weird comment after having seen the film. But yeah, I mean, I think it is easiest to tell the story that you most understand, which is your own.
I mean, this is definitely Bong Joon-ho being sort of what I can only imagine to be like an upper class, cream of the crop Korean guy, but still looking down on everything and going, yeah, eat the rich for sure. Like, I'm rich, it sucks.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of eat the rich, did you think for a second during the ending that he was going to say that he ate the old housekeeper?
I thought for a lot of seconds that everybody was going to be cannibals, so...
Yeah, I definitely saw the movie going that direction.
Because this movie definitely, when it started, I did not see where it was going to end, and I definitely was waiting for the, like, this is what's wrong with the Park family.
They eat people.
They eat poor people, or something like that.
A modest proposal.
What?
That's the Jonathan Swift let's eat poor people thing, right?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. Freshman year of college, English class.
Yeah, we read, like, James Joyce.
We had the same professor, except they were husband and wife. So I had the wife.
Freshman English? I had Cornett sophomore year. I had Cornett for the Greed is Good class, where we read like Bonfire of the Vanities and Devil in the White City. No, not Devil in the White City. Something else that sounds like Devil in the White City.
Devil in the White City is nonfiction.
We read some nonfiction, but I don't think Devil in the White City was out then. But it was something with a similar title. Also, Devil in the White City is a great name wasted on a nonfiction book.
So, yeah, Devil in the White City.
But yeah, it's like I have nothing against nonfiction. I mean, I do kind of have stuff against nonfiction. Like, I am deeply uninterested in nonfiction, usually, just as far as books go. But, like, you could have called that book anything. Don't steal Devil in the White City for a nonfiction book about the World's Fair.
Sometimes you just got to.
When you come up with the title Learning to Skateboard in a War Zone, if you're a girl, you call somebody else and say, hey, I've got a movie title for you. I'm going to figure something else to call my short documentary.
Well, I'm going to give you a one-sentence summary of A Modest Proposal that I found on schmoop.com, which I've never heard of. A Modest Proposal begins by lamenting the sad fate of poverty-stricken Irish who have to spend all their time looking for food to stuff in their kids' mouths. Luckily, the author has come up with an excellent way to put the brats to good use. Raise them as food for wealthy citizens. Really, it all makes perfect sense. If you aren't entirely convinced right away, he proceeds to spell out the benefits.
Isn't this the same guy that wrote Gulliver's Travels?
Jonathan Swift?
Yeah.
Might be?
Yeah, it is. Gulliver's Travels 1726 and A Modest Proposal 1729.
Gulliver's Travels was like multiverse before the multiverse.
For sure. That was back when you couldn't just write a book.
I mean, it is a book.
I mean, it is a book, but it's also like a, complex political allegory.
It's good. I like Gulliver's Travels.
That was back when you had to be a philosopher to write a book.
Yeah. Well, 1726, I mean, the printing press had been around for like 109 years. So we're at about that point in film. And you know what? Things are quite crazy.
Things are quite crazy. For sure. You had like a movie based on a book written like 150 years ago. You had a movie about cars. You had a movie about like this, all up for the same award, and all like really good movies.
Yeah. I loved the comment. Who was the presenter talking about Ford versus Ferrari? Who was like, I have both. It's not even close.
Oh yeah, it's like I have a Ford. It's not even close. Yeah, no, for sure. It was definitely tough for me as the straight cis white dude, being like, I really liked the movie about the cars.
Yeah, I really liked that one.
It was really good though. It's like it's a fascinating movie. It is captivating up to the last minute.
Well, and it's a story that, like, people who love cars love that story.
Right, and it's a great story about, like, America and being a person, and, it's a movie worth watching. It just, like, it only has one woman in it, and I don't think she talks to another woman because she's the only woman. And, like, it's complicated to be like, I really liked this movie. I think I liked it as much, if not more, than Little Women. Oh, and in that list was also a movie about a kid that imagines that his best friend is Hitler.
Right. And a divorce. Nothing good,
and a movie
really.
About divorce.
Nothing good, really.
Oh,
except for Little Women.
Happy movies. I mean, Jojo Rabbit, for the most part, was extremely upbeat. Little Women is also partially sad. One of those girls dies.
I know. Everybody seemed to get really hurt by that. I just felt like, she wasn't in the movie that much.
Brutal.
I mean, if you're going to kill one of them off.
If you're going to kill one of them off, it's clearly this one. She is much less interesting because she's been sick her whole life.
Right. I feel bad because I think there's an air of truth to the film.
Well, I mean, it's 150 years old.
That's true. That's true. Let's not forget Hitler was in one of these movies.
I just said that.
I know.
Yeah, and this the thing is, like, Hitler was in one of these movies, and also it was still rad.
There's a couple movies that Hitler's in there that are rad. Like Glorious Bastards is rad.
Yeah. I guess Hitler existed in 1917.
Yes, he would have been.
He was alive.
He would have been young, right? Like really young.
I don't think really young. I don't know how old Hitler was when he died.
Rose to power.
But yeah, I have no idea. And I'm not gonna just Google Adolf Hitler right now.
Well, let's do some.
Just not gonna do it.
Let's do some wrapping of the show. I've had a good time chatting with my best friend Ethan tonight. Thanks for chatting with me, Ethan. Bye.
Okay.
I can't quote this.
I guess it's left to me to do all of the things and put everything on the board.
No. I just realized I can't do the thing we do at the end because I don't know any of the words in this movie.
Oh.
So we need a breakfast food for Parasite. I feel like it's like hard-boiled cockroach.
I don't like that.
You know, the scene in Emperor's New Groove where like they hit this.
Or they eat the pill bugs.
Yeah, the pill bugs.
You gonna finish that?
Is there anything here that's not swimming in gravy? On
second thought, I'll have a salad.
Make my potatoes salad. Oh,
that's
yeah.
it. Squeak, squeak it, squeak, squeaker.
Breakfast food for Parasite.
One day I'm just gonna do the entire episode in the Patrick Warburton voice.
Like as a squirrel?
No, just in the voice.
Hi, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. Squeak, squeak, and squeak, squeaker.
And I'm Patrick Warburton.
I bet he would come on this show.
Movie
I could shoot him an email.
Phenomenal. What?
Little did the Baudelaire children know. No, you know who I like?
Man, I wish that show was better.
You know, every time I watch that show, I was like, oh, I like this, but I'm not drawn in at all.
Yeah, it's like I watched the first 3 episodes. I'm like, this is dope. And then season 2 came around, and I was like,
yeah. But I have all but given up television at this point. It's so hard between this show and bagels and work and baby, which is...
Yeah, I don't have a show I'm like watching. I haven't had a show I'm watching for a long time.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
I've started just like watching, because for a long time while we were doing the show, like the only movie I watched every week was
the show movie.
But I think I've seen like probably 16 movies in February so far.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen 2, maybe. What did I review last week? Were you there? What did we talk about?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Which is which I watched in January.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, probably the one.
If where do we put Parasite on the board?
So did we agree on soft-boiled cockroach?
I mean, there's not a good breakfast food. Comparing a movie to a breakfast food's really hard.
It is really hard.
Nothing we say makes any sense.
That's true.
Like, it was cool and campy at first, and now it just feels like a chore, and every week it depresses me. I don't necessarily want to stop doing it, but I'm out of clever ideas to name movies after.
Yeah, I would agree with everything that you just said. It's hard. It is hard. And it's
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So moving on to the big board. Is this better than Star Wars?
Is that the top?
Yeah.
Really?
And Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and then Klaus, and then Little Women, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Frozen 2, Coco.
Man, we've watched some good movies this year so far.
I know.
I mean, yeah, this is better than Star Wars, but it just is.
I would watch this over Star Wars.
I mean, it's better than Star Wars, though.
Yeah, but this is our subjective opinion, not like a...
And my subjective opinion is it's a better movie.
Well, by that standard, so is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Klaus.
Yeah, I mean, I would have no problem putting Klaus at the top of the list.
Yeah. How about...
I'm still mad for Klaus.
Well, how about we put it below Klaus?
This?
Yeah.
This is better than Klaus and Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Okay. I'm not ready to get rid of Star Wars.
I'm honestly just glad Star Wars is over, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I'm just ready to move on from franchises.
Do you ever wonder if, like, through this whole process of Bacon and Eggs, we have, like, become these annoying cinephile types who are done with franchises and just want to watch original stories? Or do you think that, like, the actual general public has shifted this way, and we are just like just on that train as well?
I think that I have for the most part always been the cinephile type, and you beat me into shape for 3 years.
Oh, I do love a good
because, like, I have thoroughly enjoyed doing the show. I love the MCU movies. When you told me we're like, oh, we're going to review Iron Man and then 20 Marvel movies in a row, I definitely was like, oh, God.
Why? I love the MCU.
That was a big ask. I like movies like this.
I do too.
Not every single time, but like
I think the world's
more than your average person.
I think the world's big enough for both.
I agree. I don't think we've done a lot of both.
We've done more of both this year than in other years.
Correct, and it's been very exciting.
We did Hocus Pocus this year.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Garbo.
Hoaxu, Poksu. Okay, so it's at the top. Do you want to shout out all the people that make this show happen?
Yeah. Cool. So thank you for listening to another episode of Bacon and Eggs. We've had a pleasure making it for you. I hope you have a pleasure listening to it. And this show is made possible by you guys, the patrons, and also the people in our Facebook group that we don't talk to as much as we used to, but I miss you a lot. I'm just bad at posting on Facebook. But you make the show happen. You guys are the reason we do it, for sure. Everybody that listens. And also, like, it's literally made possible by Vaishon Brandon, who does all of our graphics for everything. And Andrew Scott Bell does our music, and he's wonderful, and I love our music, and I miss him. And he showed me a video about Ford versus Ferrari, and it was beautiful. And also, this episode was made possible by the WB&E Network and all the wonderful shows that we have over on WB&E. And I'm very excited to record a new episode of the named but not yet announced Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
Ooh, maybe we'll announce that in the Hash Browns.
Well, I'm recording the first episode on Saturday, so I kind of like to see how that goes first.
Well, there's like a chance you're not going to make the show?
No. I just kind of want to get on base with everybody before we forgot an announcement.
Okay.
So maybe we'll do that in the Hash Browns next week.
Pippy Bravado has... I found my role in the show. I don't know if you've talked to... if we're producers, what does that make Jordan? Director?
Yeah, I guess. Probably. Yeah, that'd be the most cinematic congruent.
The creator involved... The lead creator on the project.
Yeah. If anything, like executive producers is us.
Yes.
But also me, who is going to be like hands-on producing it. I don't know. It's complicated. Production means a different thing in audio than it does in movies anyway.
Right. And be sure to check out our Patreon page. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we are offering the same promotion we did in January. We had a lot of fun with it. Right? It was December. I don't know. Any new and upgrading patron, it was December. Any new or upgrading patron that joins our Patreon page at any level. So if you are not a patron and you want to join at $1, if you're not a patron and you want to join at $3 or $5 or $25 or $250, or if you are a current patron and you go from $3 to $5 or $5 to $10 or whatever it is, we will send you a sticker. And I ordered the stickers and they're awesome. If you did that in December, you're getting a really cool radio sticker that says from WB&E on it. And if you did it in February, then you are getting a Camp Bacon and Egg sticker. And I'm really excited about it.
And also check out Hello from Elsewhere by Casey Winters and Valerie Winters. And we're going to play a promo for them right now. And I'm actually going to remember to put it in the episode this week.
Hi, I'm Valerie.
And I'm Casey.
And we're a married couple who loves to travel through fictional worlds.
On our podcast, Hello from Elsewhere, we dive deep into the themes and characters of movies and books, all through a positive lens.
We explore all your biggest questions, like what is Steven Spielberg's obsession with father figures?
What is the history of fictional maps?
And why are animated foxes so attractive?
Oh, Robin Hood.
From Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Jane Austen,
to Star Wars, Marvel, and classic Hollywood.
If it's pop culture, we're interested in exploring the meaning behind it.
With new episodes every other Friday, come visit us in Elsewhere.
Cool. Thank you for listening to Bacon and Eggs. I've been Ethan Edgehill. We come to you from the internet. He's been Tyler Carlin. Till next week. Arrivederci.
And I don't know any words in Korean.